Hello everyone. This is the session summary for the 6th session of the Giraffivores campaign. We left off last with a bit of a cliffhanger, but I will address that shortly. At the end of the last session summary, we left our party of heroes in the midst of a very intense skirmish with the forces of the Shadow. A white cloak and Trollocs, allied with an Aielman who can channel, have attacked our party on the road to Tamador. As the Aielman darts towards a strange, multi-hued pillar of stone, it's a portal stone. He's already absorbing an insane amount of the power. So much Sidene that it seems almost impossible, and he looks ready to draw more. Cackling, pin-cushioned with arrows, he pushes on, launching explosive chunks of rocks and boulders, hurling fireballs and fighting like a man possessed. The Aielman positions himself above the stone, as the white cloak and Trollocs hold off most of the party. Just when everything seems to be going the party's way, though, the Samma'N'Sei sends all that coursing, raging, tainted Sidene careening into the portal stone. The world shudders before them, and it flickers, and the party is transported to some other world, some watery, bleary-eyed version of ours. Strewn around the immediate area are bones of various creatures, and long-dead humans, as well as the torn, bloodied remains of several Aiel, all bearing the same red veil as the Samma'N'Sei. However, there is a young Aielman that has not died yet, and he is staring the party down, his face growing more strained with every breath. His veil, though red, and his teeth, though pointed, does not stop Ferredin from recognizing his brother father, or his uncle Darvin, which would make Darvin a Samma'N'Sei, or an Aiel who has been corrupted and turned to the Shadow. It is at this time that Ferredin is given some insight into the strange, mysterious life his uncle has lived. As he is starting to explain these things, he begins to tell a tale for the ages, ladies and gentlemen. Darvin, who is sworn to the Shadow, has taken a poison that will claim his life soon, so that he may betray his oaths to the great Lord of the Dark in the hour of his death. For 25 years, after the disappearance of his lover, Darvin has been a tool of the Shadow. He lost himself in his atrocities, forgetting the pain of losing the shade of his heart and the child growing inside of her. Only when the orders were given to kill a man that looked like his darling Shael, a man that could only be his son, grown to be a man he could not. He was the man above Dragonmount, the man who eradicated the forces of the Shadow outside the town of Bendersham. He obliterated the Samma'N'Sei who were waiting in ambush in the world between, as Barrett calls it, who were waiting in ambush for the party, waiting to kill them upon arrival. These dark Aiel have been using the portal stones to travel across the continent, unhindered, to do the Dark One's will. He says that when he discovered that he was being sent to apprehend and turn his own son, he couldn't abide it anymore. Something changed within him, and he was given new life again. Vowing to save his son from his fate, he began the nearly impossible task of breaking the bonds that the Dark One had laid on him over nearly 25 years of service. As he speaks, his eyes begin to bleed, his veins darken and bulge in his head, and his every breath is pained. But life returns to his eyes that was not there before, the very life that seems to leave his body. In his act of defiance, in his spitting in Sightblinder's eye, he has found strength to tell Ferredin the one last thing he can before dying. He says, "My son is the Karakarn, Ferredin. He who comes with the dawn. I could not let them take him, Delar," which is his nickname for young Ferredin, because Ferredin was fat. "You must reach him for me, Ferredin. I have tow, and I could not meet it. I bring shame to our family, our clan, our name, but save my son, please. His name is Vanderlyn Alrand. They are sending the Dark One's hound, among other dark creatures of the shadow, to his village to take him. Please do not let him fall to the shadow. And with that, his death comes. Needless to say, this information is rather weighty, and the party needs some time to be able to digest this information. Luckily for them, they're cut off from their original world. And the only one with any inkling of any experience in this world is Barrick, who does not seem to be enjoying his return to this world in between. However, after looting the corpses they find, in which Ferrodin finds himself a much sturdier Cadensaur with bonuses, along with some various armor and weaponry that the party intends to sell when they get back in town, Island finds something peculiar and special on the dead Aielman that sent them to the portal world in the first place. A little statue of an elven king that seems to sing to Island, to call to him deep within his soul. Island pockets the statue. It is at this time that the party buries Ferrodin's uncle and gets ready to set off. Only, Barrick alerts the party to some approaching beasts in the distance. In a daring fight, where the party fended off beasts they'd not ever seen, monstrous reptilian-like creatures that seemed to be made of scales of iron, these land sharks gave the party some small trouble, only to meet their end at the blades and spells of the giraffivores. Taishar! Psych. The party got chased away. Seems like it was a nest, and those bullets decided not to pursue prey that bites back at what may have been a breeding ground in this strange world for land shark love orgies. Yikes. Anyway, over the course of about 3 days, the party traverses an insane amount of distance. I believe the distance was 1 billion miles, or 55 leagues. See? My notes. No. Kidding. I think they made it like something around 400 miles in a day or so, with 1 day of nearly no travel being done. It's at this point that Gina, who knows what Island is becoming, tries to get him to admit it, to help her, as what little they know about Portal Stone says that it will take an immense amount of the power to be able to successfully manipulate the flow of the pattern and to bring them back into their own world. Island, after initially denying that he can even channel at all, eventually, when cornered, will tell Gina that he simply will not channel at all, and that is that. As you could imagine, this causes some conflict between them for some days, and until they reach the Portal Stone, they don't speak again. It's at this point that Barrick stalls. He's walking up to the stone monolith, and he lifts his eyes to the sky, his arms outstretched like some dwarvish prophet. And then he begins to speak. Deep, mellifluous tones of earth and stone rise from the dwarf, though no known language leaves his lips. After some time, he stops, satisfied, for Barrick has attuned the stone. Surely it will be easier now. Unaided, our initiate rolls up her sleeves and gets to work, attempting to pull them back to their home world. Who knows the effects of being in this world in between for too long? However, upon reaching out to Saidar, Gina experiences some strange hiccup in the power, one she's never felt before. Acting not at all like Saidar, the power floods through her and nearly burns her out, but she channels that river of molten fire through her, reaching into the portal stone, and the world flickers, shudders, and they are home. Gina collapses, and it's clear from the daggers that she's staring at Island that she intends to rehash this decision not to assist her, and soon. Ooh. At this point, the party begins to prepare for the assassins, as Faradin's Terrandroid tells them they're about 4 weeks ahead of schedule. They decide they want to get the jump on the assassin cell, and Gina needs to rest up. So they prepare. Barrick sinks Stone into a quicksand trap, and the group begins to wait. At long last, Adel recognizes 5 travelers who appear to be dressed as Mayenners, and they lie in wait. The horses get stuck in the quicksand, and the enemy assassins move on unabated. I should mention here that I have to retcon to save the horses, as specifically those horsey asses. I gotta save those horsey asses, because someone, not gonna name names, Gina, has a soft spot for the Wheel of Time horses, and she won't ever let one die. So, horses are fine. As they dive in and out of combat, exchanging blows, our esteemed borderlander, who is the Shinaran Macerim Aldar, notices that there are not 5, but 6 men. This one, who is almost so ordinary that your gaze passes right over him, has been completely undetected by even the members of the enemy group they are fighting. The party, by some astute metagaming, realize that of course it's a flaming gray man. I mean, it's a sneaky dude. And he sneaks. And he hides. What else is he gonna do, right? So they recognize him, and then Macerim promptly ends the session mid-fight by clobbering my bloody Grammar in one round. One round. Just dead. Like, dead. Bye. So, we decided shortly after that to call it, as the party was still an hour or more from completing the fight, and they were still riding that rather exquisite high from watching Macerim Juliana Shadow Spawn that was hiding in plain sight. Shoo! What a session, folks. And it just gets better from here. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and tune in next time, everyone. I'm your host, Darian, and this has been another episode of the Giraffe of Wars campaign. Until next time, may the dragon ride forever on the winds of time.